This is the gold 1 month overview reading for the month of April 2025. It's currently March 16th, 2025, 5:55 p.m. Eastern Time. Gold, a spot price for an ounce of gold at the time of this reading is $2,984.73 USD. And the shuffle video for the April reading was created on March 8th, 2025 at 8:54 p.m. Eastern Time. So what I'll cover in this video is the overall trend direction and chart behavior for gold throughout the month of April. We're going to give you chart behavior to look out for to help you time the highest high and the lowest low for the month. We'll even give you one of the best trades that we see for the month of April at the end of the video, but that'll come after we go and we check out March thus far, anyways, the March reading to see how we're doing thus far. And then we'll come back and we'll do the day-by-day sequence of chart events. The timing is usually on point to the day with the sequence of chart events, but I just want to point out for those new people that we're predicting the sequence of chart events. Sometimes you need to give the timing plus or minus a day here or there of wiggle room, a day or two. It happens occasionally in some of the readings, but for the most part, we're on point. The reason being is that not each card's energy will line up perfectly with 24 hours of time, so you need to give it a lot for that wiggle room in some cases. And this is specifically why I do not recommend trading this information on your own. It's ignorant to think that just because we know high and low, that we know how to make money. There's a lot more to the stock market. It's about what you do when you put your money in the market, a lot more so than it is about knowing up and down, high and low. So I do not recommend trading this. This is really for entertainment purposes. Think of it as a guide to what our expectations for April are. But if you really are serious about trading this information, you're going to want to get our monthly access subscription, which I'll show you how to get at the end of this video. Reason being is that's how you get access to our live Discord trade alerts and live updated trading view chart links, where we in real time are guiding people on when and how to make these trades. I'll show you how to get that stuff at the end of the video, guys, so stay tuned for that. All right, so we're going to get into the chart behavior in just a moment, but before we do, I want to make sure that you're aware the whole purpose of the channel is to transmute some of the competitive energy of the stock market into goodwill. You do that by following through on the Rule of Karma. You go to the Resources tab of our website, Tarot for Traders, click on Resources. 5% of all profitable trades, so the 5% of the profits from all profitable trades should be donated forward to one of these charities, effectively transmuting the competitive energy of the stock market into goodwill. 5% of the profits should be donated back to the channel to say thank you and express gratitude through the universe. Gratitude begets gratitude, so make sure you're following through on this, guys. It leaves you at 90%. Make sure to spend that 90% out of love. As long as you follow those rules, you're an angel investor of the channel. We're going to send it back to you tenfold for following through, or the universe will send it back to you tenfold for following through. But you'll definitely get, you do that regularly, and you definitely get my attention. All right, guys. So with that said, let's get into it. The overall theme and behavior for gold in the month of April, we have a significant move to the upside. There is a multi-day trough. That's another thing. The scale at which I'm talking about, like big moves, support, resistance, trough, stuff like that, it's all going to be on the scale of a multi-day chart with one-day candlesticks, unless otherwise specified. So we've got this big move to the upside as the overall theme. It's crossed with a notable trough that'll likely stand out on a one-year chart scale. So likely that trough is going to be opportunity that we could then open up longs and get into long positions for, but we'll look at that in more detail as we progress. Behavior around the high side, we'll have an unexpected and notable move into the high. Behavior around the low slow, a period of volatility will end with a fast sudden move higher near the low or at the low. Now, before I get into that day-by-day sequence of chart events, let's take a look at March and see how we're doing thus far. All right, so it looks like right off the bat we were a little bit late on the low. Ended up being that first day, which there was some possibility of that, but I was a little bit late, and that's a good example of plus or minus a day here or two here of wiggle room, because it did end up being the first day of the month. However, everything as far as the sequence of chart events seems to be going according to plan. There was after this peak, there was opportunity to open up long before going into higher price levels. We have a higher high expected on the 10th. Looks like we were a little bit off, but we ended up being the next day, and then an even higher one on the 12th. And it looks like that came to fruition. We have a higher one yet still on the 14th. You can see how that has come to fruition. So with that said, this has been a pretty accurate reading, aside from that little lateness on the low there. I would be very mindful. There is a lot of indication of a sharp drop right at the end of the month here. I think astrologically some people were mentioning that as well, so I'd be very mindful of that. We do have highs ahead of us for the month. These are examples of the chart drawings that you have access to as part of the live Discord trade alerts. Like this actually says, exit longs or hold for a higher price level. And it was posted on February 25th. So overall, this is looking like a really solid reading. We would have guided you to get into a long position in the midst of the decline here on the 7th. You would have been a little early, but hopefully you would have done partial and then added to it. Either way, it didn't matter. Even if you got in a little early on the entry, you would be a happy camper right now. You would have cashed out on the 12th, or you would have cashed out here on the 14th. The drop from this high on the 14th is marking opportunity to open up more long positions as well. So you could utilize what's going on now possibly to get in for a quick gain. But aside from that, this is going pretty well. That March reading, the Shopify was created on February 21st, 2025, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So that's a testament to power ESO meta-analysis. All right, guys, let's get into it. So we have a notable move to the upside in April. Excuse me, on the last day, or out of a trough for the last day of March. I'm advised to be cautious on the first day of the month. Multiple false tops or bottoms, or some sort of tricky chart behavior where we might do the wrong thing impulsively. On the 2nd, we have a crest that we sell off from down to and through support. We do a U-shaped reversal below that price level, break through it to the upside, and then reuse it as support. On the 3rd, we have bearish price swings and or a sharp drop, and then mixed behavior on the 4th. 3 crisscrosses through the same price level. The third cross, excuse me, the third cross is usually to the upside, confirming a bullish trend. It doesn't necessarily look like that's the case here. This ruin is also a cross-reading congruency on the 1 year, which I'll talk about in more detail in the monthly axis version of this video. But we're being advised not to chase that rally. There's a sideways S formation within a channel on the 7th. Usually that's a decline overall, but we decline from resistance, hit support, and reverse and return all the way to original resistance, reverse and return all the way to that support. Big move to the downside on the 8th into a prominent trough, most likely on the 9th, or on the cusp of the 8th, 9th. On the 9th, we have a rally through into key resistance, and then we break down from that resistance with consecutively lower spikes up on the way down. Usually on the scale of a 1 month, those resistances will be like moving averages that'll be acting as resistance for those spikes up. On the 10th, we have a prominent peak and some flat behavior. On the 11th, a peak in the beginning of the day. And it looks like we might have a trough, like we might decline into midday. It's likely a prominent trough there towards the end of the day, and then a huge move over the weekend into key resistance and a prominent peak on the 14th. We decline from that resistance into a prominent trough on the 15th, or maybe that might even start. There's a prominent move higher, full retracement on the 15th, but it looks like we decline, and then the prominent move higher for the 15th probably starts on the 14th. Retrace back to that move to the downside on the 15th. A decline through multiple support levels on the 16th, a U-shaped dip on the 17th, and then a failed attempt to break through key resistance on the 21st, followed by a decline through key support. What's interesting about that failed attempt at resistance is that we're going to expect to break through it based on technicals leading into it. Excuse me, guys. So that'll be very disappointing. Instead, we'll decline through key support, and then we go from a peak to a trough. Early in the day on the 22nd, there's a trough. We should rally out of that pretty notably. It either turns over, that rally turns over on the 22nd, or more likely it's that we create a peak on the 23rd. I said more likely it turns over on the 22nd, excuse me. But more, I'm so sorry, guys. All right, so rally out of the trough early in the day on the 22nd. It might turn over on the 22nd, but more likely it's going to turn over on the 23rd, creating a prominent peak and a sharp decline from that prominent peak. Resistance, a multi-day resistance on the 24th is highlighted, probably at the beginning of the day, and we should decline from that resistance and return to it either on the 24th or in the not-too-distant future. We have a prominent trough on the 25th with sideways rotation along key support on a multi-day scale. A rally on the 28th along diagonal trend line ends with a fast sudden move higher, and then a breakdown through that diagonal trend line with increasing volatility on the way down. A lot of price change and volatility, price swings even on the 29th, a prominent peak on the 29th as well. Usually there's a lot of price change with the Prince of Swords. And then a decline on the 30th, a decline down to and through support to be another support. We pause and rotate sideways for a bit there, and then break down through more supports there on the 30th. It looks like we attempt to establish support in May, and there's likely to be a higher price level or another prominent peak on a 1-year chart scale there towards the end of May. If not, then it's a highest high, or it's a prominent peak, I should say, on the 29th, 30th, or it could be both. Either way, I'm going to give you one of the best trades that I see, but remember, guys, this is really for only for entertainment purposes. Look at this for like paper trading to see if you would have made money, because we're not right all the time. We're right most of the time. Do not trade like we're right all the time. Those are the people that regret it. And they're like, oh, I was doing so well, and then I traded everything in one trade, and that's the one where we were wrong. And like, that's literally what I hear when somebody's like, oh, I lost money. It's because they put all their money down on it and acted like a fool. So don't do that. But most of the time, we're right. Use this as a guide to see what our expectations are. But really, if you're serious about trading this information, you must have access to our early access subscription. I'm going to show you that just after this trade. I think probably the clearest trade. All right, well, here's one. So I like the 22nd. So we out of a trough, there's a rally into key resistance, or there's a rally into a peak around the 22nd, 23rd. It's likely a very significant high. I would open up a partial in the midst of that rally out of the trough and then add to it when we're bumping along resistance sideways at probably close to the same price levels as a peak from the 21st, maybe slightly higher. Either way, I would add to that short there, and I would look to close the short probably early in the day on the 25th. If that doesn't work, there may be possibility on the 28th and the 30th, but do not wait for it because this is much more likely an exit. And if you have a good exit on the 24th, even before we get to the 25th, I would say take that. But that's one of the best trades that I see for April. Much love and appreciation to everybody watching. Let me show you how to get that early access subscription with the access to the live Discord trade alerts and live trading view chart links, as well as all of the best trades that we expect to see through the month and the timing of the highest high and lowest low for the month. All that is part of the monthly access subscription. And for the monthly access subscription, you go to our website, Tarot for Traders, hover over Order Now, click on Subscriptions. What you get with monthly access is everything that early access has, which is this. It gives you access to this Discord channel where we have the early access videos come out. All the public posts on YouTube come out first here on our early access channel. Gives you access to the live stream questions channel where we answer all these questions during the next live stream. It gives you access to the SPY live day trade alerts and trading view chart links, swing trades for SPY as well, and it gives you access to to all of these channels. A channel for live Discord trade alerts and a channel for chat for questions for each of the tickers covered here with the monthly access subscription. All of that, guys, is severely underpriced at $300 a month. It's super underpriced, guys. I make that back in a day, like in one trade and some, so severely underpriced. Anybody that grabs that at 300, you're a lucky guy because that's going up in price. And if you catch it at that price level, you'll have that for the lifetime of the subscription. Much love and appreciation, everybody that supports the channel with that. Blessings to all my angel investors. I'll see you guys on the next one.